I'm here in Bluff City where the water runs cold and the trout run big. Behind me is a painted rainbow trout on the side of a wall, and that means today we're going to be showcasing Tailwaters Fly Company. This is a very unique fly fishing shop right in the heart of Bluff City. So without further ado, let's go meet the owner. Let's go see what this place is all about. All right, guys, we're officially inside. Right behind me, that's John Laros. He's the owner. So without further ado, let's learn a little bit about your company.
John Laros from Washington State. Grew up fishing, started fly fishing when I was 5 or 6 years old, and I've been fly tying ever since. Did some commercial tying in high school. When I was 5 or 6, my grandpa passed away, and they were kind of divvying up his stuff. I still remember being there and playing with some of his old fly tying stuff. He was really into it. He fly fished in Alaska and that kind of thing. So I inherited all of his fly tying stuff, and I played around with it in my room. And the first flies I tied were actually with not thread but lead wire, because you can wrap that around a hook, and if you break it, it doesn't come unraveled. So as a 5 or 6 year old, it was a lot easier than using thread. So to this day, I have these big size 2 hooks with bucktail wrapped on there with lead wire. And that's kind of how I got into it. I grew up fly fishing, fly tying, did commercial tying in high school. Fly fishing and fly tying has always been a real passion of mine. Did it all through college. My first job out of college, moved to the Raleigh-Durham Chapel Hill area. Okay. And from where? From Washington State. Okay. From Washington State. Okay. And joined up with the local Trout Unlimited group there. Was really lucky because they came out and fished here a couple times a year. So still remember my first trip that the club took me on. And what I remember is fishing downriver from the castaways, working my way back up, and somebody had on a fish and they asked me to come help land it. And I kind of thought they were showing off a little bit, and I waded up, not thinking too much of it, and I looked down, and it was the biggest brown trout I'd ever seen in my life. And from that moment on, I was completely enamored with this place, started coming out here as often as I could. Before my wife and I even moved out here, there was one year we spent 20 weekends in a year out here, primarily fishing. So we've loved the area for a long time. We've bought into it hook, line, and sinker, and we moved out here full-time in 2020. And we've just loved this area. We love our neighbors, we love the community, we love the fishing. Here? Bluff City? Yeah, Bluff City. Heck yeah. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Love that. Yeah. So we moved here full-time in 2020, and we were, I did a few different things professionally, but I'd always been pretty reticent to get into the fly fishing industry. I've seen a handful of people who get into it, and what has been a passion becomes a job, and they kind of lose the spark. And just given how passionate I am about it, I was always absolutely terrified of that. But after living out here full-time for 4 years, fishing 5 days a week on average, I still remember getting up and going on a trip with a friend, and it still felt like Christmas. And so I kind of knew that nothing's ever risk-free, but this was a risk that we probably should take. And we moved forward with it. So, every fly shop kind of has their own flavor, and we have other fly shops in the area. I'm kind of pro everybody, and what we're doing is kind of unique and kind of specific, and it can only be supported in a place like this. So we're really focused on kind of the most technical gear for the most serious anglers. We love everybody. We're happy to see someone walk in the door who it's their first day fly fishing. But if you are guiding that person, we can also serve you. So what you'll notice in this place is that we're a fly tying forward fly shop. And that's because 9.5 out of 10 or more of the most serious fly fishermen tie their own flies. And so we've been living out here. It was really hard to get fly tying materials. And we just decided that, between the guide community, all the people like us who just lived here to fish, and then all the people traveling in from different areas who don't have a fly shop that can support a fly tying function. They would have people who want to pick up a whiting hackle before we bought it. And so we just thought, this might be a reasonably good idea. So we pulled the trigger and here we are.
I love the outside.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the outside, because that's pretty unique.
Yeah. One really funny story about the building is we had that idea because this was vacant space when we set this place up. We had the coffee shop, we had the brewery, we had the tap house, but right here was vacant. And we just needed people to know that a shop here existed. We kind of had the idea, and it cost money, and we were trying to figure out should we pull the trigger or not. And I still remember I went across the street the first week we were open at the end of the week, and saw a guide that I knew who was having some trailer problems, and I walked up and said hello and mentioned that we'd open this shop. And he looked across the street and he goes, "When are you opening?" And we'd been open a week, and I thought, well, nuts, we need to pull the trigger on that.
Yeah.
So we did. But the funny story is that we talked to the building owner, and he was supportive of a trout print. But we showed him some options, and he absolutely did not want the brown trout on the outside because it was very yellow, and he didn't want a big yellow building. So when we talked to Carrie, we told her we wanted the rainbow trout print. Well, I didn't realize how these murals get done, and you lay a base color down and then you paint over it. The base color was yellow, and so we were at a local family event over at the ball fields. And I looked across and I just saw this yellow building, and I freaked out because I didn't know if she had misread which print we wanted or what happened. And I mean, I was freaking out, and everything worked out. I just took a deep breath, waited, and everything worked out perfectly. But yeah, it was a little hair raising for a little while. Yeah. So if you come into Bluff City, we're the first fly shop that you see. We're the only fly shop in Bluff City, but we're in a pretty special place. It's right where the South Holston meets Boone Lake, depending on the time of year. Yeah. During the winter, they draw down the lake, and we have a couple extra river miles. Right now, during the summer, the lake's up, and we're kind of in this really unique spot where cold and warm water meet, and that creates some really unique fishing opportunities. So there's striper, there's big trout, there's hybrids, and then there's all kinds of warm water fish too. But it's a really unique spot to be.
If you had to pick one fly that you could come in here and buy one fly today, and then you were told, but that's the only fly you get to fish with the entire year, what fly are you buying?
All right.
for South Holston River. If
I were buying one fly for the entire year, it would probably be a peanut envy. And that's a streamer, can imitate a lot of different things, does a great job of imitating shad, and it's a fun fly to fish. If I only got to fish with one fly the whole year, I think I'd prefer to do something like streamer fishing. I like all kinds of fishing, but if you said, John, you only get to do one thing for the year, that's probably what it would be.
Okay, what's the weirdest or most creative fly someone's bought in the shop or requested?
People ask for a yellow hammer frequently, or the materials to tie a yellow hammer, and it's the feathers that you use are from a bird that's endangered and you can't actually get them. So that's one that we've actually received a couple of requests about, and we just kind of shrug our shoulders a little bit. It's also for brook trout and mountain streams, and quite honestly, they're probably not the most selective fish out there. Periodically people will come in and they'll say, I moved to the area 6 months ago, I don't really know what I'm doing, I've had a hard time with the fishery, tell me what I need to know. And I love that because we're not from this area, people kind of introduced us to it, and we love it here. And I like trying to make that connection so that people like it as much as we do. We have phenomenal fishing here. People travel from all over to fish here. It's a world-class destination. The number of 20-plus inch fish, and when I say 20-plus, it's like upper 20s, not just 21, 22. They get caught out of these rivers every year is staggering. It's phenomenal, but in addition to that, it's not just about the trout fishing. We've got phenomenal trout fishing, we've got phenomenal smallmouth fishing, we've got great striper fishing, hybrid fishing, go down the list. I mean, even like the muskie fishing within a reasonable drive of here, we've got it. So this is a really special place for a lot of different fisheries.
What's something most people don't know about running a fly shop?
Here's something that I really enjoy about running a fly shop. And so prior to this, I had some kind of like office desk jobs and everything. And you come in Monday morning and people are kind of dragging their feet, and it is what it is. It's fine. But when people come in here, it's like the best part of their day. So I get to have the best part of a lot of people's days, and it's just a really friendly, awesome environment. And it's been a great way just to meet people, make friends, and it's just really positive. I love doing it.
All right, guys, so you've gotten to know John a little bit. Now let's go ahead and take a look around at his shop and what he has to offer. All right, so we're gonna start at the front of the shop and work our way back, and John's gonna give us a little breakdown of what we have here.
Cool. I'm just gonna go through, talk about some of the really cool stuff that we've got in. So first thing I'm super excited about is we're one of the few dealers in the country for Blaine Chocolate's fly tying materials and soon to be flies. So we're pumped about those. These are some of his shanks and then some of his wings and hellgrammite bodies, crayfish bodies, that kind of thing. This is a really cool thing. This is a fly hub from Preston the Queen. And as you can see, it rotates and displays all of our really cool streamers in the shop. Believe it or not, we have some really cool soaps and candles. I never thought I would be selling soaps and candles as a fly shop, but it's a really cool company. The lady who does it does a really good job, and she donates a certain portion of the proceeds to really cool causes like Project Healing Water and Casting for Recovery, and it's really cool, and she does a great job. Honestly, tourists love it. Guides buy a bunch of this stuff for their wives. And it's great stuff. It's
a no-brainer. It looks like I got some balms down here. So what's this down here?
Yeah, those are lip balms, also really popular.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. And then of course, I've bought some of this stuff. We've got some merch as well. So if you guys need shirts, check those out. All right, what else we got?
Awesome. We've got all kinds of really technical stuff. One thing I'll mention is we've got Pierre Sempe leader material. So if you're into Euro nymphing, that's kind of the cutting edge stuff that a lot of comp guys are using. It's hard to find in a physical fly shop, and we're lucky enough to have it.
That's cool.
We've got all the hooks and beads hopefully you could want. We work hard to keep all of these things in stock all the time.
Okay.
And we've got everything from size 26, maybe 28 dry fly hooks to 8-aught beast flies.
What are we aiming for when we go for these guys?
A lot of that would be kind of saltwater striper stuff, but you could do musky too.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so normally you go to a fly shop, you don't see that. That's awesome that you have that as a selection.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And again, because of the diverse fisheries that we have here, again, we're doing everything from the tiniest trout flies to the biggest musky flies.
All right, so we're entering into a rather feathery room.
Yeah. Whenever people come in here for the first time, I always tell them, if you see something you like but you don't see the color, just kind of do that.
Whoa.
Because otherwise we would need a shop about 8 times this big to have everything on its own little hook. That's one of the ways that we're able to do this. Okay. One thing I'll mention is the whiting hackle that we've got. Unfortunately, whiting is reducing the number of retail relationships that they have, and so we have made the cut, and we're going to be one of the few places you can actually go in and pick up a whiting hackle and check out the shade and pull it out of the package and touch it. So unfortunate overall, but if you're here, definitely stop in and check out our hackle selection.
Okay.
We try and keep a good assortment of brushes in the shop. Again, in terms of color scheme, every size, every color of most of the brushes that we carry.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to tie flies, you're interested in tying flies, is that something you can do here, or is that something where you teach?
Yeah, that's absolutely something you can do here. So we're going to be doing some classes in the fall.
Okay.
And then in addition to that, I've had people come in who are just interested in it, and I sit down at the desk and I just whip up a few flies. Sometimes people have brought in their own materials, own vise, and we've just sat down and tied together, and I'm just always happy to help people out. This wall is kind of our streamer wall.
Okay, streamer wall, okay.
Yeah, lots of brushes, again, Blaine chocolate stuff,
Yeah.
all the chenilles and foam cylinders and everything else you can think of.
I mean, this is wall-to-wall materials. It doesn't matter what part of the shop you're in, there's something.
One thing I'll also mention, even in terms of dubbing, you know, we have some of our more popular dubbings on the wall, but if you know you want a specific shade of a dry fly dubbing, you take this out, you sort through it, and you find the specific shade of tan or brown that you want. So we have a much bigger inventory and assortment than we probably should in this kind of space.
That's awesome. So you guys may have thought that the shop tour was done, but we're actually just getting started because I just learned about another whole section of the shop that we have not seen yet.
So this is the space where we do our classes. We host certain events, tying events and that kind of thing, but this is where we're going to be doing our 101 classes, our fly tying classes, and then this is part of the video setup for our YouTube channel. So as we're building that out, this is where all the magic's going to happen. So we do sell stuff online. A lot of our stuff is in the retail space. We do have some stuff in the back, and this will also help hold some of the stuff that we can't put on the shelves.
Got it, okay.
So expect more of those racks in months to come.
That is so cool, man. This is a great space, and I'm looking forward to seeing your tying of flies, because I would love to tie a fly someday. So
awesome.
You'll be able to teach me?
That sounds great. So we're open from 8:30 to 5 every day except Sunday and Tuesday.
Okay.
The best place to find us is on Instagram or our website. Feel free to call the shop or just come in.
Perfect. All right, guys, I'm gonna leave all of John's information for the shop in the description of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have an idea for another shop we should highlight soon, go ahead and put it in the comments or shoot me an email. Till next time, tight lines.
3, 2, 1.